Awareness by Anthony DeMello. Negative feelings toward others. At one of my conferences, someone made the following observation. I want to share with you something wonderful that happened to me. I went to the movies, and I was working shortly after that, and I was really having trouble with 3 people in my life. So I said, all right, just like I learned at the movies, I'm going to come outside myself. For a couple of hours, I got in touch with my feelings, with how badly I felt toward these 3 people. I said, I really hate those people. Then I said, Jesus, what can you do about all that? A little while later, I began to cry because I realized that Jesus died for those very people, and they couldn't help how they were anyway. That afternoon, I had to go to the office where I spoke to those people. I told them what my problem was, and they agreed with me. I wasn't mad at them, and I didn't hate them anymore. Anytime you have a negative feeling toward anyone, you're living in an illusion. There's something seriously wrong with you. You're not seeing reality. Something inside of you has to change. But what do we generally do when we have a negative feeling? He is to blame. She is to blame. She's got to change. No. The world's all right. The one who has to change is you. One of you told of working in an institution. During a staff meeting, someone would inevitably say, "The food stinks around here." And the regular dietitian would go into orbit. She has identified with the food. She is saying, anyone who attacks the food attacks me. I feel threatened. But the I is never threatened. It's only the me that is threatened. But suppose you witness some out-and-out injustice, something that is obviously and objectively wrong. Would it not be a proper reaction to say, this should not be happening? Should you somehow want to involve yourself in correcting a situation that's wrong? Someone injuring a child, and you see abuse going on. How about that kind of thing? I hope you did not assume that I was saying you shouldn't do anything. I said that if you didn't have negative feelings, you'd be much more effective. Much more effective. Because when negative feelings come in, you go blind. Me steps into the picture, and everything gets fouled up. Where we had one problem on our hands before, now we have 2 problems. Many wrongly assume that not having negative feelings like anger and resentment and hate means that you do nothing about a situation. Oh no. Oh no. You are not affected emotionally, but you spring into action. You become very sensitive to things and people around you. What kills the sensitivity is what many people would call the conditioned self. When you so identify with me that there's too much of me in it for you to see things objectively with detachment. It's very important that when you swing into action, you'll be able to see things with detachment. But negative emotions prevent that. What, then, would we call the kind of passion that motivates or activates energy into doing something about objective evils? Whatever it is not a reaction. It is action. Some of you wonder if there's a gray area before something becomes an attachment, before identification sets in. Say a friend dies. It seems right and very human to feel some sadness about that. But what reaction? Self-pity? What would you be grieving about? Think about that. What I'm saying is going to sound terrible to you. But I told you, I'm coming from another world. Your reaction is personal loss, right? Feeling sorry for me, or for other people your friend might have brought joy to. But that means you're feeling sorry for other people who are feeling sorry for themselves. If they're not feeling sorry for themselves, what would they be feeling sorry for? We never feel grief when we lose something that we have allowed to be free, that we have never attempted to possess. Grief is a sign that I made my happiness depend on this thing or person, at least to some extent. So we're accustomed to hear the opposite of this, that what I say sounds inhuman. We're so accustomed to hear the opposite of this that what I say sounds inhuman, doesn't it? Well, there you have it. So what's all this about? So when you have negative feelings towards others, he's saying that anytime you have negative feelings about other people, it's an illusion. The world is right. Problem is with you. You are the one that has to change. If you become identified with something, for instance, he brings the example of the dietitian, and when everybody is like complaining that the food is terrible, the dietitian takes it personally and gets angry because the dietitian has identified herself with the food. So when anyone attacks the food, she feels attacked, she feels threatened. But he says it's never the I that's threatened, only the me. So what about when there's something serious going on, like child abuse? So if you see someone injuring a child, what do you do then? You can't say, well, the negative feeling is an illusion and I'm the one who has to change. He's not saying that. What he's saying is, if you see some child abuse going on, for instance, if you get upset, you're going to be less effective because instead of the problem of child abuse, now you have two problems. You have child abuse and the problem of you experiencing all this negative feeling. So instead of dealing with one problem, you have to deal with two. So you're not going to be as effective. So the effective thing to do would be to say, yes, this evil is going on, but I can't react to it. If I react, I'm all emotional and I'm not going to be as effective. So instead, I have to take action. So instead of reaction, you take action. So he brings another example that, isn't it normal that if your friend dies, that you're going to feel sad? Yes, but what exactly are you feeling sad about? You're feeling sad because your friend has been taken away from you. So you are losing something, so you feel sad about that, which is fine. And you feel sad about your other friends who are also feeling sorry about themselves because they've lost something as well and they feel the personal loss. But he's saying that it's because we attempted to possess that person that we feel sorry for that person leaving. But if that person is free, then we wouldn't feel that way. So, I mean, that's a very high-minded idea, but he's saying that your happiness depends on this person. You've made your happiness dependent on other things. For instance, this person who has died, or your wealth, or your job, or something like that. And he said, yeah, we're so accustomed to this that it sounds almost inhuman to think otherwise. But let's go back to the example of the child abuse. So say, for instance, there's a crazy person that's harming somebody. So, yes, we can get very upset about this. But What do you expect a crazy person to do? A crazy person is going to act crazy. That's what crazy people do. It's like the Forrest Gump quote, which I'll paraphrase. Crazy is what crazy does. If the person didn't do crazy things, they wouldn't be crazy. So you just have to understand this and accept it. There's no sense getting upset that crazy people are doing crazy things. Even if they're dangerous and they're destroying everything, and, you know, yeah, they're causing many problems in your life. They're ruining things. They're stealing a lot of good times that you can't have, that are never going to be replaced. But how can we use action in this situation? Well, can we forgive the person? No, that's not possible. Why? Why can't you forgive the person? Well, because the person doesn't want forgiveness. They don't feel they've done anything wrong. So if you go to someone who thinks they're doing right and you say to them, I forgive you, they're going to find that very patronizing. They're going to feel attacked, and they're going to feel that you're just being smug and thinking that you're better than them or whatever, especially if they're crazy. So you can't forgive the person because they don't want forgiveness. They think they're in the right, and if you try to act superior and go, well, I forgive you anyway, even though you don't know, you know. I mean, you can say to God, God, forgive them, for they know not what they do, which is what Jesus said. But he's not forgiving them. Well, he kind of is, because he's God personified as an avatar, but we're not Jesus. I mean, I can't just forgive someone who doesn't want forgiveness and doesn't think they've done anything wrong. If they repent and they realize they've done things wrong, yes, if they seek out your forgiveness and they seek to make corrections, then yes, holding a grudge would be foolish. But you just can't willy-nilly forgive somebody for causing harm and destruction and ruining things, especially if they're ruining your life. So the crazy person isn't going to change. So what can we do? Well, the famous book by Hermann Hesse, I believe it won a Nobel Peace Prize, Siddhartha, describes the life of the Buddha. And Siddhartha learns as part of his journey that he can always do three things. He can think, he can wait, and he can fast. So thinking is what you have to do first. And what you say is, well, here's the reality. This person is crazy. The crazy person's not going to change. So I have to expect the crazy person to do crazy things and accept that and not let it cause me to react and get all upset. Now, sometimes we're going to react and get upset. We're only human. But we can think. And then we can wait. So we can wait for better times to arrive. We can try to be patient, and we can try to be hopeful. And we can fast. Now, fasting generally means doing without food, okay? You can't really do without water. The human body can live without food probably for 40 days or so. Some people will say less. I personally have a friend who has fasted for over 30 days, and he's done it more than once. But you have to drink water. You need water probably every 3 days, and you probably need air every 3 minutes. Some people, I think, I've seen David Blaine hold his breath for 19 minutes, I believe. There's some people who've fallen through the ice and held their breath or gone without oxygen for 30 minutes under certain conditions, but generally you can hold your breath. You can live without air for, say, 3 minutes. You can live without water for, say, 3 days. And just to ballpark it, you can live without food for, say, 30 days or so. But fasting means doing without. So you just have to realize that right now, if this crazy person is taking something away, then you have to wait and fast, do without, and try to think and try to stay positive and try to act instead of react. And try to stay hopeful and things like that. Anyway, that's basically what he's saying here. So most of the time, if you're having negative feelings towards other people, the problem is with you. Okay? Understanding, thinking, waiting, fasting, things like that. In normal circumstances, yes, it's a very simple change the way you're thinking. But when there's real tyranny going on, when there's real problems going on, whether it's from some despotic ruler who's, ruling with an iron fist and has the power to cause problems, or whether it's a crazy person or something like that, then you take action the way you can. And you can think, you can wait, you can fast, you can breathe to try to keep yourself calm. You can do other things. You can try to exercise, try to stay positive, but try to stay hopeful, and hopefully things will not last forever. But instead of reacting and getting upset, then you're going to have two problems to deal with. And yes, we're going to fail from time to time. We are human. Anyway, till next time, who loves you, baby? This guy. Remember, you're somebody's favorite person in this world, probably me. And yeah, if you're having tough times, come see me. Think, wait, fast, things like that. And we'll try to stay hopeful that these hard times aren't going to last too long. Anyway, till next time, goodbye. Love you.